Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Mark, and today I'll be talking about my TBR for February of this year. Or maybe next year. What a stupid thing to say. This year. So if you watched my January reading roundup video, which I posted a couple of days ago, you'll know that that was a cracking month for me reading wise. I managed to get 11 books read off my massive TBR. Can I carry on? Will February be as good? Well, let's hope so. I've managed to select 10 books again, which I'm hoping to read this month, and I'm going to go through them with you right now. So, I was aware that perhaps I have more non-fiction on my TBR than I do fiction, so I've tried to a little bit lean it that way this month, but there is still a fair bit of both. So let's start with some non-fiction, and this one is a music biography of the singer-songwriter Warren Zevon, who I'm a big fan of, and this is the biography of him, I'll Sleep When I'm Dead, written by his wife Crystal. And he specifically said before he died that when she wrote the book he wanted it to be warts and all, and apparently it is, and it doesn't show him in a very good light in lots of ways. But I am looking forward to reading it. I am a big fan of his music, and as I say, I don't think this is going to affect what I think of that, just from finding out that maybe he wasn't all that nice a guy, but we'll see. So that's the first thing I'm going to read. I'm also going to read 2 more entries of the British Library's Tales of the Weird series, because I suddenly figured that reading one a month wasn't really going to cut it, because they produce one a month, so I'm never going to catch up. And I probably won't anyway, because I think they've published over 60 of them, and I'm up to book 8. But I thought, well, look, try and do 2 a month, and then you can have the illusion that one day you'll catch up. So I've got books 8 and 9 here. You don't have to read them in order. That is just the order they were published in. It's convenience to read them in that order as far as I'm concerned. And the first of these is The Weird Tales of William Hope Hodgson. Now, I'm a huge Hodgson fan. I have all his works already, so it was a bit much really to buy them again as a paperback. But God, they're smart, these paperbacks, aren't they? I just love the way they look. I love the artwork and everything. And at heart, I suppose I'm a collector. So I did buy this volume as well, even though I did wait till it was a little bit cheaper than full price. Anyway, I'm a huge fan of Hodgson's. I am familiar with all the stories already, especially the Carnacki, the Ghost Detective ones. I've read those many times, but I'm looking forward to reading it all again anyway. The next book in the series is Doorway to Dilemma, Rewarding Tales of Dark Fantasy, and this is the more usual compilation of different authors, obscure, sometimes well known. I don't know if there's anyone in here I've actually heard of. I know there is a I believe there's a Frank R. Stockton story in here, and I just read The Great Stone of Sardis, which I mentioned 2 days ago in my reading roundup for January, and I wasn't all that taken with it. But anyway, that's Doorways to Dilemma. That is apparently Bewildering Tales of Dark Fantasy, so looking forward to that. Moving on, let's do another sort of omnibus, if you like, or a collection of things. This is the second Hammer Horror Omnibus by John Burke, which was published in 1966. This is 4 short novels taken from Hammer movies. I think we've got Plague of the Zombies, The Reptile, Dracula Prince of Darkness, and I can't remember. What's the other one? Oh, Rasputin the Mad Monk. Actually, one of my favourite Hammer horrors, although rather an unheralded one, I feel. I haven't seen any of the movies for ages, so this is a really good opportunity to rewatch the movies again. Not that I need an excuse, I suppose, but yeah, when I did that for the first omnibus that I looked at, I was really pleased with the movies. I thought they held up incredibly well, so I'm looking forward to watching those and reading the books. So after those, and we're running out of room on the table here, I'll have to do a quick bit of rearrangement, I'm afraid. Oops. Try not to drop everything, Mark. Okay, sorry about that. Let's go back to some non-fiction and the world of movies, which you know that I love if you follow this channel. And I've got a couple of books here on the same subject, and that's director Billy Wilder. And this is an immense biography called On Sunset Boulevard by Ed Sikov. And Wilder's one of my favourite directors. I love Sunset Boulevard, the movie. I love Ace in the Hole. There are many others of his films I love. I don't think there are any I didn't like. I think he was amazing as a director and a writer, and I'm looking forward to reading about his life. And adjacent to that, we've got this rather hefty tome, which is Conversations with Wilder, which was basically just a series of interviews he did with Cameron Crowe, who was a very well-known journalist of the time, who went on to become a film director, and you may be familiar with him from films such as Almost Famous and Elizabethtown, which everyone hated apart from me, because it's one of my favourite films, and I'm not apologising for that. Right, after those... oh God, things are really getting out of hand on the table. Hang on. Let's go back to fiction after that. Yeah, I think I've got 4 more to talk about, haven't I? Yep. Okay, the first of those is The Other Eye of Osiris by R. Austin Freeman. Now, R. Austin Freeman, God, there's a lot of shine on that one. R. Austin Freeman was a writer of the early 20th century who created a literary detective called Dr. Thorndyke, who was clearly inspired by Sherlock Holmes. He was a forensic detective, and I want to do a video on him as part of my Reading the Detective series, and I need to read this one because I've read the first 4 Thorndyke books, and I could do a video just based on them, but one of those was The Eye of Osiris. And this is The Other Eye of Osiris. This was the first draft, if you like. This was the rejected version that his publisher sent back to him and said, nope, you can't do that. We need something better than that. So I think The Eye of Osiris is the best of the Thorndyke books I've read so far, and I'm just really curious to read how different this is, and speculate on why the publisher sent it back. That will be interesting. And this was published only a few years ago, many years after he'd passed on, so he probably never wanted it to see the light of day, but it did. So I'll be looking at that. And the other 3, well, we've got Walter Mosley's Charcoal Joe. This is the next in the not the Lincoln Rhyme series. I'm getting my series confused. The Easy Rawlins series, which I'm a big fan of. And this is, I've lost count now. This is about book 9 or something. But yes, I'm looking forward to reading about Easy's further adventures as we move into possibly the 1970s, I think, now, because if you read the books, they go through the years chronologically. It starts when he gets out of Second World War as a GI in the 1940s and just goes through the decades as his career as a private investigator develops. And I think we're up to about might still be the late 60s, but we'll see. After that, I've got a new author that I've never tried before, and this is a guy called Stefan Grabinski, and this is The Motion Demon, and this is weird fiction about the railways. And the reason I have a copy of this is it was recommended to me by a viewer. His name was Oscar Pons. 8483. So I had to look up and check the name there. Sorry, Oscar, if you're watching, but thank you for the recommendation. I have taken it to heart, and here is the Grabinski book, and I'm looking forward to reading it. It does sound, certainly, especially when I read his biography on Wikipedia, it does sound extremely interesting, and I'm looking forward to reading that. And finally, of the 10 this month in the TBR, now this is something called The Three Ravens Folktales. Now, I'm a big fan of English folklore. I'm very interested in it. I'm not a folklorist. I'm not academic about it or anything like that, but I'm a big fan. Now, The Three Ravens is a very, very popular podcast on the subject, run by these 2 guys, Eleanor Conlon and Martin Vaux, and I'm a big fan of it. I'm not a Patreon, although I have thought about it, I must confess, because I enjoy it that much. And they've brought out a book where they actually go through and retell some of these folk tales as short stories. And I'm very much looking forward to this. That's about all I can say about it, really. Apart from, I must confess to a slight clash of interest here, I suppose, I guess. I have actually had some contact with the Three Ravens over Facebook, but only commenting on their threads and stuff. Nothing great. So I'm not going to be biased when I read it. It's going to be an honest opinion. But yeah, those are the 10 books that I've got for you for February. Those are the ones that I'm hopefully going to be reading to get 10 more off that damn TBR after I did so well last month. Thank you for sticking with me all the way through this video. It's much appreciated. And please don't forget to like, subscribe and ring that notification bell if you're enjoying my content for some reason or other. And anyway, that's it for today. So last thing to say to you is please don't forget to keep looking through those second-hand bookshops, going to those charity sales and market stalls, because there are treasures out there that only you can find. Thanks very much, and be seeing you.